In this episode of the next 24 hours, I'm so excited because we're going to be talking about goal setting. And what's so funny about goal setting, so often people set their goals in January for the new year, and then the next year they come back and they revisit what they wrote down, and they can set those same exact goals. Why? Because of certain mistakes people make when they go to set goals. And in this episode, we're going to discuss what those things are. Get ready to live your dream and set some amazing goals. Welcome to the next 24 hours, where I'm going to give you real information you can really use to transform your life and work one day at a time. I'll be your host, Curtis Zimmerman. All right, the first thing I want to do is I want to talk about the 5 things that people make as their biggest mistakes when it comes to setting goals. Now, I've been doing goals forever. I've been doing goals with my wife. This is our 28th wedding anniversary this year, and we sit down around the holidays and we reflect and we go back over last year's goals, and we have books that we've written all kinds of things in, and we review those goals. So I am kind of a goal-setting fiend. I believe in them. I know the impact that they can have on me, on the universe, and on the things that I want to create to actually come into my life. A lot of those things have actually come into my life because I had set goals the year or 3 years prior. So the number one thing that most people make as a mistake when they go to set down and set their goals, they set their goals too low. Now, I know that may sound counterintuitive, but really most people set their goals too low. And what happens is they want to be realistic. And I'm telling you right now, realistic never invented anything. Aren't you glad that Walt Disney wasn't realistic? Imagine your name right now, and then walking into a bank and then saying, "Hi, yes, I'd like to get a loan because I want to produce this thing called Zimmerman Land." You want to do what? Yeah, it's called Zimmerman Land. And what is your name? My name's Curtis Zimmerman, and it's going to be Curtis Zimmerman World one day. Thank you, sir. The exit's right there. And that's exactly what happened to Walt Disney. Hi, I want to create something called Disneyland. Now, when you hear the word Disneyland, you just think of it as a brand, as a product. You don't think, hey, that's that guy's name, and he wanted to go and make a land with his name on it. And I forget how many banks he went to that heard no. He was like completely out of his brain. But you know what he did? Did he give up? No. He had a goal and he had a passion, and he was willing to risk everything, which happened to be this movie that he had produced. That was the only thing that ever made him any money. And he got that money and he took that and he reinvested it. And that's why millions and millions and millions of people know and have visited the happiest place in the world because one person decided not to be realistic. So what does that mean for you as you're listening? Well, I'm not going to be Walt Disney, Curtis. Well, maybe you will. You never know. We have those types of people today. Elon Musk, for instance. Oh, don't be, you got to be realistic. You may be listening to this on this little device right now that is the most amazing miracle. That's crazy that, you're listening to this on. You can take pictures on. You can do so many things. It's literally a master computer that used to take 3 rooms in NASA to do something like play chess. And now it's in your hand and it's getting smaller every single day. Why? Because that's people that decided not to be realistic at Apple. And they drove innovation. So how are you going to drive innovation in your own life? And as you go to set your goals, in other words, if you say, well, I make $47,000 a year, and I'm going to get totally crazy, and I'm going to say next year, I want to earn $52,000. Man, that is just crazy talk. You know what? For that extra $4,000 or $5,000, you're not going to be willing to get up and get off the couch and go and get yourself another beer for that. However, if I told you, you know what, next year you're going to set a goal and the goal is going to be, I'm going to make $75,000 or $125,000. Wow, that may be motivation enough, knowing that could happen, to get you up an hour early from work, or to have you drive pizza in the evenings, or have you do something at work that really shows the talents and gifts you really have to assert yourself in a new way. So it's a matter of what you're willing to give in your everyday life in order to make those dreams, those aspirations come true. So when you go to goal set, so I'll give you a quick example. Here I am with my wife. She is a college student. I'm a mime working gigs in Dayton, Ohio, and it's goal setting time with my wife. And I say, next year, remember, we're renting a small little apartment and we have basically no money. Next year, my goal is we're going to buy a house. Wow. Well, that's kind of a big goal. How do you think you're going to do that? I have no idea, but I have a goal. I want to buy a house by next year. We're going to be moving into our new house by next year. I'm going to do everything I can to make that happen. And guess what? The next year, we were in our brand new first home. Absolutely. After we were in that house, about 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years later, I said, you know what, it's time to move up. I want to move up and move, and I want to be in a bigger house, and I'm going to set a goal next year. I want to be... And sure enough, we were in a bigger house, and we needed it because that's when Noah arrived shortly after, followed by Mirabelle and then Oliver. Now, I don't share that because I think that you have to be unrealistic to the point where there's no way it's going to happen. What I'm telling you is understand why you want that goal so bad, and then be willing to do the work to make it come true. Obviously, if you're a homeowner, you realize that, here's the steps I had to take. You can go backwards from that and figure out, how did that person buy their first home? You can talk to those people because there are houses everywhere you go, and there are people you know that own that house. Just talk to them and backward engineer how they were able to buy their first house. One thing I want to say about goal setting that's very important, and that is there are dreams and there are goals. And as we start this, we have to understand the difference between a dream and a goal. Here's the newsflash. Everybody has dreams. Every single person I meet, I can ask them, what are your dreams? Everyone has dreams. Few people have goals. The difference between a goal and a dream is really simple. A goal has a deadline. A goal has a deadline. And then with that deadline, you're going to start going from that date, that deadline, all the way back to today, and then see what steps you're going to take piece by piece by piece to by that deadline, having that goal come true. So I want you to think about your goals, and then I want you to put deadlines on them. But before we get to that, let's go ahead and look at number 2. This is the other big mistake that people make when it comes to goal setting, and that is not sharing those goals. So you've worked really hard, you've taken time, you reflected on what you want to change, a habit, or what you want to bring into your life, or a car you want to buy, or whatever that is. And I want you to understand, once you've decided what you want to get, what you want to appear, then you have to plot out what the work is going to be. And that means you're going to have to change some habits. And when you change habits in your real life, it doesn't just only affect you, it affects the people that you live with. It affects the people that you work with. It affects your partner. So people always say, well, if you have goals and you want them to come true, you have to have an accountability partner. Some people do, some people don't. But no matter what, if you have a goal to do something, I'm going to just make one up. I have a goal to run a half marathon. Believe me, that's completely made up because I don't have that goal. But let's just say you did. So I have a goal to run a half marathon. Now, in order to do that and make that goal come true, it means that rather than going to bed at 11:30 or, binging on Netflix for 3 hours and going to bed at 3 o'clock in the morning, it means that I'm going to have to consistently try to go to bed by 10 o'clock. And I'm going to get up in the morning and I have to jog X amount of miles each week in order to build up and be ready for my deadline, which is the date of the race. And that means that this person that I said I wanted to spend time with, and they sleep next to me, and we put the kids to bed, and then it's about 9:45, and that's when we have our hour or so to actually connect with one another and talk to each other and see how their day really went, because we've been so busy and chaotic. Well, now, rather than taking that time, that bonding time she's used to, what's happening is I'm going to bed. And if she doesn't know why I'm going to bed, and she doesn't know that there's a deadline when the race happens, after that, we're going to go back to our old habits. She's going to start disconnecting from me because she's not going to understand why all of a sudden the only time we get in the whole day, we're not spending it together anymore. So I have to let her know, look, here's the goal. Here's how it's going to change my behavior. Here's how it's going to affect our relationship. So in return of you understanding why I'm going to bed at 10 and me getting up in the morning and maybe running and you get up and leave before I even get back, I want you to know that my commitment is every Friday, we're going to have a date night now. So that way you feel good about the time that I'm gone, and we go ahead and build in something to make sure our quality time together still stays in place, because that's a priority for me. And part of the reason I want to go ahead and run this, it's a goal, but it's also because I want to be more healthy and I'll have more energy. I want to be able to do the dishes when I come home from work, and I want to be a more contributor around the house with the kids. And I know that needs energy. And the first thing I have to do is build into me so then I can build into you. Do you see how different that feels? So make sure whatever that goal is, you share it with your partner. They don't have to be your accountability partner. They don't have to be the one, if you decide not to run a day, to kick you in the head and say, I thought you were doing this. As a matter of fact, I don't recommend that, because it's so many dynamics going on. Why also give them a job now to take care of you? I don't recommend that. So make sure they know, but not necessarily to hold you accountable, just so as the behavior changes, your life changes for a while. And also they know after this date, hey, we're going to go back to possibly the way it was before, or maybe he's only going to run 3 days a week because now he's in shape. He just wants to keep it up, or she just wants to keep it up. All right, so the next one is number 3 I touched on, and that is, deadlines. Deadlines are so important, and most people, they set their goal and they say, sometime by the end of next year, I'm going to lose 12 pounds. If you say by the next time this year, I want to have lost 12 pounds, you will fail every single time, guaranteed. Guaranteed. Instead, you're going to say, you know what I want to do is next year at this time, I want to have lost 12 pounds. Therefore, I'm going to look at every month, how many pounds does that mean? I have, let's see, 12 pounds, 12 months. I'm not a math guy, but that means basically just a pound a month. If I lose a pound a month, then by next year at this time, I'll be standing right here in this room and I have lost 12 pounds and I'll be able to keep it off because I didn't lose 12 pounds in 12 days. That's called insanity. And there's no way you're going to keep it off. If I just lost 2 pounds a month, next year at this time, that would be like 25, 24 pounds that I've lost. That's very realistic, very doable, and it makes it a consistent drive to your goal. That's the difference about goals and dreams. Set the deadline, make it something that you know you're going to do by changing the behavior in your life, and all of a sudden, the dream now is a reality. All right, this is one of my favorite problems, and I see it so often, is what I'm going to do is I'm going to learn how to play the guitar. I'm going to learn how to speak Spanish. I'm going to learn how to cook. I want to be a really good cook, and I want to be a chef. I'm not going to be a chef for a job, but I want to be able to cook when our friends come over and when we're entertaining and people from out of town. I want to make these amazing meals in the kitchen, and because I'm driven to do that. I have people say this to me all the time in VIP days. They tell me about their goals, their dreams, their dream job, what it is they really want to do, something that they gave up they now want to pursue. And I have the same story for them I'm going to tell you. How busy is your life right now? Every single one of them laugh. Curtis, my life is so full. It's so crammed full of things. Excellent. So I say to them the same thing I'm going to say to you, and that is this. Your life is like a giant banquet. It's a banquet. So when you walk into the rooms at this banquet, up top it has your name, Curtis Zimmerman's Life. And then I walk in, and there are these rounds, like you see at any other banquet. These rounds are where you sit down with 6 or 8 people, and you enjoy some food, whatever it is. This is a little different because each of these rounds has a little placard on it, and the placard says family. The other one says health. The other one says work. The other one says dreams. The other one says, and each week what you do, rest, reflection, faith. Each week, what you do is you get up and you go to one of those rounds and you sit down at that table and you feast on whatever that table gives you. And you work through the food and through the lessons and through conversations with different people at that table that then feeds that part of your life. And you're doing that right now if you think about it. How much time do you go and sit or even lay down for rest at that table? How much time do you go for growth, for learning? How much time a week do you sit and read books or go and listen to really good content on the internet that's building your brain power? Well, that would be that time. How much time do you sit at this banquet table called reflection or faith or thinking about why I'm on the planet? How often do you do that each day or each week? So we spend time at each of these might have a whole table that's just called video games. How much time do you sit at that table and just sit and play video games? And I'm not judging any of those tables, just so you know. But I guarantee you that if we sat down together for 3 hours, we could determine how much time you're sitting at each of those tables each week. And that is, as the sign said when you walked in, your life. And that's the way you're spending it. Now you have this brand new giant goal, and you think you're going to go sit at all those tables, and somehow that goal is just going to magically appear. It's not. The only way that that goal is ever going to become part of your life is if you go to the back room, you open the door called your future, and you grab that giant table and you roll it into your life. And it's heavy, and you bring it in, and all the other tables are looking at it saying, does this mean he's not going to spend time with me? I don't know. It's kind of crowded in here. I don't know if there's room for that table. But you bring it out anyway, and then you open those big, giant steel, oh man, they're so heavy, clicking into place. You know, those giant steel legs on that table, and then it strains your back, and you flip it in the room. That means you've made a commitment to sit at that table in your real life. And you put your goal right in the middle of that. And then you plan each week how you're going to visit all the tables a little bit less and make a priority to go sit at that table that has your goal on it. If you don't do that every week, even if it's sitting in reflection for 15 minutes on what that goal is. So in other words, you're not running every day, but the days you're not running, you're at least reflecting on how good you feel about the run you had yesterday in order to make that half marathon goal come true. That is one of the biggest mistakes I see people make. What they're going to do is they say, okay, I want to run a half marathon. And they take that little placard and they just throw it down on one of the other tables and think they're going to incorporate it into their relationship. Think they're going to incorporate it into video games. I'm going to play video games for an hour and then I'm going to run for an hour. No, you're going to play video games and 3 hours is going to go by and you're not going to run today. You have to make it its own place in your life. It'll change everything. So one of the things that's so important, and this is actually number 5 in the number of mistakes people make when it comes to goal setting, and that is this. What they do is they set a fixed time, they set a fixed date, they set a fixed thing they're going to do, and if it doesn't happen at that fixed time, if it doesn't happen on that fixed date, if it doesn't happen based on traffic, whatever it is, then that day they don't follow through with the goal. So in other words, hey, here's my commitment. I'm going to get up at 6:30 every day and I'm going to walk for 2 miles. I'm going to do that 3 days a week. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. What happens? Well, the play happened late, or you were out with your friends late on Sunday night, or this special concert happened and you were busy, and oh, the Oscars were on and it went really late. Or, oh, the football game ran into overtime. Oh, the baseball game, whatever it is. Now I'm only going to get 3 or 4 hours sleep. There's no way I'm going to get up at 6:30, so I'm not going to walk tomorrow. That is wrong thinking with goal setting. And it's very simple. I want you to put this in your mind and think about it and never forget as long as you live, and that is this. Every day you say, all right, well, we're going to have lunch at 12. Yep, I'm going to go to work. We're going to have lunch at 12. What happens if it's 12:07 and you haven't gone to lunch yet? Do you go, well, guess we're not eating lunch today? Oh, I missed lunch. That's such a bummer. I don't get to eat till dinner. And then dinner, well, that's normally at 5:30, right? And then 5:30 rolls around and, oh, you're stuck in traffic, so you don't get home till 6:15. Oh, guess we don't get dinner tonight. We never do that. Isn't it funny how we figure out a way to work in the food, but we can't figure out a way to work in the goal for that day? You have to be so driven and so focused that you're willing to move other things around in your life in order to walk that 2 miles. So if that means I have to walk the 2 miles when I get home later, if that means I'm going to be a little late for work because I'm walking that 2 miles, if that means I'm going to walk the 2 miles at lunch in the neighborhood where I work, it doesn't matter. If you're committed and you know in order to make your goal come true, you have to do it today, just like eating. You will figure it out. You will figure it out. But that's a completely different mind shift. So stop saying between this time and this time, otherwise I don't do it today. Instead saying, here's the day, things have changed. How am I going to work it in? Not to feed my body, but to feed my goal today. If you do that, your goals will come true. So here's something that's an interesting perspective, and that is oftentimes when we think about goal setting or we think about achieving something, we think about the changes we're going to have to make in order to get the promotion, in order to get in shape, in order to whatever the goal is, right? I've said all different kinds of goals. And oftentimes what we do is then we look outside of the world we're in. I call it fishing in another pond. And oftentimes our goals, our dreams, our aspirations can happen by fishing in the pond we're currently in, understanding what that means and enjoying the catch that we're getting from this pond and really developing a strategy before we start fishing in another pond. So I'm going to give you a really quick example of that. So I'm in my kitchen. Oh man, I don't know, maybe 7 months ago. I'm in my kitchen and my son Oliver is just gone on this crazy kind of workout. Now remember, he's like 15, so he played football his last year of junior high. And because of that, he had to go and do practices and he had to kind of, they ran him and he had to do sit-ups and it was kind of a new thing and he got into it. Football ended and he's not going to play football in high school, but he said, wow, I'm really enjoying this physical activity and this getting in shape. I'd like to join the local gym where we live. And I said, well, Oliver, if you work out at home, because we had a treadmill and things at home in the basement, of course. And I said, if you do that for, a month or two, then when summer rolls around, we'll talk about if we're going to invest in you to go to the gym. I want to see a commitment first. So sure enough, he did. And I said, okay, Oliver. And my wife and I discussed it. And we said, great, we'll go ahead and we'll take a chance. We'll sign you up for the gym for a short period of time. If you want to go and you show that you're going, then we're happy to keep you enrolled at our local gym. So he's been doing that and he has been going and he's been really, it's changed everything. He's reading the labels. He's wanting to eat cleanly. He's not drinking soda. And we've watched his body transform before our very eyes. So back to my story, and that is I'm standing in the kitchen and I'm looking at my body and I'm looking at his body. And I say to him, you know what, Oliver? I want my body to look more like your body. I want you to be my personal trainer and my dietitian. I want you to tell me what food you're eating. I mean, he's been doing shakes and he's been doing salads and been eating only chicken, and it's pretty crazy. So I said, so Oliver, I'm going to commit to go and work out when you work out. And I want you to be my dietitian. I want you to tell me today we're eating salad and we're going to have chicken. And he does one day that's kind of like a free day where you get to eat whatever you want within reason. So I could have done something very different. I could have said, look at Oliver, look at what he's been doing. Wow, I really need to call my friend Gray, who I used to have a personal trainer. His name is Gray. I need to call him and I need to start going back to Gray. Now, Gray is about a 40-minute drive. And of course, he charges for his services and he's worth it. And rather than looking at Oliver and thinking about what I need to do and then fishing in another pond, I said, wow, Oliver's right here. Oliver can help me in my home. Oliver is going to the gym after school and I can go after work, and he and I can also maybe build some time together, and I can slowly transform my body fishing in the pond that I'm already in. And I would say that with you. So if you want to change your finances, don't think about, oh, I have to go now and go to the bank and I have to meet a counselor and I have to go and do all these things. Think about who in your world seems to have their finances under control. Who in your world never seems to be stressed out about their finances. Go and talk with them. Figure out what they do. Ask them for some time to help you with your finances and lay it out and be realistic about it. And then follow some of the things they've done in order for you to have success. You don't have to go to some big financial planner and take the little amount of resources you have and give them half of it to help them with the future finances you're going to earn. I call that fishing in your own pond. And by the way, just so it's clear, I never said, Oliver, I want to have the body you have. See, I know I don't have to be this buffed, chiseled kind of, that's not my goal. I said, I want my body to look more like your body than my body. So if I go and I work out and I'm healthier, that's the goal for me. Different for him because he wants his body to look a certain way, and I get it. So be realistic, even though earlier I said don't be realistic. Be realistic with what your goal is, and don't use somebody else's standards. Don't use somebody else's goal as your goal. So I want to just go on that for just a minute. Oliver has a certain goal to look a certain way and be in a certain kind of shape, right? Oliver wants to look a certain way and have his body be in a certain kind of shape for his own reasons. Those aren't my reasons. Those are not my goals. So that's why I say I want to go in and I want to have my goal. Even though we're working out together, I'm not going to get like bummed out because he's lifting twice as much as me. No. That's his goal. I know why I'm here, and I'm going to stay present in what I'm doing. Very, very important as you go through goal setting and you go through what it is you want to achieve, that you don't let other outside influences change what it is you want to achieve. Wow, I know that I covered a lot today, and before we get into the 24-hour challenge, I want to just remind you of a few of the things we want to look out for if we go and sit down and do our goal setting. Here we go. Make sure that you don't set your goals too low. Go ahead and stretch yourself a little bit. Make sure that you're sharing your goals with your partner. You want them to have buy-in so they can help you and support you throughout your goal journey. Make sure that you set a deadline. Then between a goal and a dream, you have a deadline. Give yourself a date to achieve whatever it is you want to do. Make sure that you integrate that goal. You got to roll that huge table into your life, and then you got to visit it every day or every week. Don't set a fixed time. If I don't get up at 7 o'clock, guess I don't work out today. No, be flexible with that goal. Let it incorporate itself into your life every day if you want to achieve greatness. With the goal, whatever it is, see if there's a way to incorporate that in with the people and the lifestyle you currently have. Don't go and fish in another pond. First, fish where you are. As you continue through your goal journey, do not take on other people's goals. Make sure you stay focused to keep within yourself and the goals that you've set. You can always change that later, but right now, don't live their goals, live your goals. I hope this is helpful as we get into the 24-hour challenge as a few things to look out for as you go in to making the next year the best year of your life. All right, everyone, here we go. It's time for my favorite part of this podcast. It's time for the 24-hour challenge. Now, when it comes to goal setting, one of the things people do is they set the goal, and it's really outside of them. It's somewhere else. And what you need to do in order to make the dream come true is you have to bring it into your world. How do you do that? Well, I want a new car. Well, I can't bring it in my world, Curtis, because I don't have the funds. No, what I want you to do is I want you to find out where that car is. And I want you to go to the dealership, and I want you to actually sit in the car, and I want you to see it in your mind that this is your car, and today's the day you're getting the keys, and you're going to drive it off the lot, and you're going to pull it into your driveway. I want you to feel what that's going to feel like when that happens, and what that's going to do is it's going to motivate you over the next 6 months, 6 years, however long it's going to take. I don't know your financial situation. There's a deadline set. And it's going to motivate you to go ahead and make the changes you need to actually make that car come home with you one day. Let's just change it. Let's just say, you know what I want to do is I want to run a marathon. Well, that means tomorrow I want you to get yourself an outfit that you feel good in, and I want you to at least walk a mile. Just walk a mile. But as you're doing that, I want it to be the 27th mile in your head. I know it's crazy, but I want you to envision that you just ran the whole marathon, and the next mile that you're walking it because you've been running for 26 miles and you have nothing left to give, but you're still going to walk that final mile. If you start tomorrow with that, and when you finish that mile, you're going, yeah, I finally got my goal. What you're doing is you're telling your body what it's going to feel like, and it's going to motivate you over the next 6 months to get in shape to run that marathon. Do something tomorrow to bring into your real life whatever that giant goal is. And as you're doing that, I want you to remember I talk a lot about living the dream, and it takes you to make changes in your life to make your goals come true so you truly can live your dream. Hey everybody, I wanted to thank you so much for listening, and I have a workbook that is all about script writing. It's how to write a new script. It's normally $15 on my website. I want to offer it to you today for free. Just go to curtiszimmerman.com/new script, and you'll be able to download that as a free gift. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you keep listening to the next 24 hours.